Fall, slam, crash. Welcome to the Fishing Without Bait show, a lifetime without definitive expectations and full impact mindfulness, where we assist people with exploding into their lives rather than sitting and waiting for something to happen, living your life on ifs and maybes. We're asking people to take some action and effort into their life. I'm Jim Ellermeyer. I'm a behavioral health therapist. And as always, what we like to do, we like to feature stories of recovery. And as we always suggest, everybody is in recovery from something, okay? It doesn't necessarily have to be drugs or alcohol. And the idea is that we want to show people that this stuff can be done, and we want to show them that it takes action and effort to do that, okay? So today we're joined by John Rodin. John Rodin, welcome aboard, John.
How you doing?
So if you had to describe yourself, if you had to give a reference for yourself as a human being, if we were going to hire a human being and you had to give a reference for yourself, what would it look like?
I would say forward-thinking, hardworking, overanalyzing.
Forward thinking, hardworking, and overanalyzing.
Yeah.
And that, of course, is what most people have this overactive thinker inside of their head.
Yeah.
Do they not?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So the idea is that can be either a gift or it can be a liability. Can it not?
I believe it has been a gift, and then other times, yeah, it's definitely a liability, like the overthinking aspect about things you don't need to. So I see both sides of it. It's been a positive and a negative.
You're on the show today to discuss a lot of things, and primarily we got connected through your connection with Mike, and that connection would be
Through wrestling. I've known him probably 9 years now. So from pulling cord at wrestling shows as a little kid, and then to here and now. So
okay. Could you tell us a little bit about wrestling, your evolution into professional wrestling, and keep in mind out there that everyone out there maybe have their different views of professional wrestling. However, whatever it is, it can provide entertainment and a lot of fun and a living for people. Okay. So it's awfully nasty to judge other people on their interests, is it not, John?
Without a doubt, like there's lots of things that I don't understand or like, but being in wrestling and then having the general public have a certain perception of it, I've learned to just not think twice about other things. Like, I don't have to like basketball, but I understand why people like basketball. It may just not be my cup of tea, but through wrestling, the outside world, no explanation is going to do it for some people. No matter how you explain the passion or the pageantry or the theatrics, it's not going to work. So you just learn to, this is my thing, you have yours, and
Absolutely. So one of the most difficult things that we help people deal with their lives is to take what we would call a non-judgmental stance. There's a difference between evaluating and judging. Okay. So simply because somebody likes vanilla ice cream and others like strawberry, it's all ice cream. We're all human beings, and we're all in this thing together. We're all on this planet at the same time. And how can I denigrate someone because they prefer chocolate when I know vanilla's the best?
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things, especially when I was younger, and that's where the overthinking was. You'd constantly judging people. Why are they doing that? Why are they dressed like this? Why this, that, and the amount of time that I spent worrying about other people is unfathomable, And once you learn to like slowly wean yourself off of that and to just do you, then life becomes a lot easier.
So most people do care about themselves. However, it's sad that they consider other people's opinion of them more than their opinion of themselves.
Yeah, I think that's today's day and age, like social media and all that. You want to have a certain perception of yourself, and you can, wear many different masks, you can be whoever you want online, and it's just the day and age where perfection, everybody wants to be perfect, or, there's filters for everything. You can clean up your face, all that. So it's just
best face forward, huh? These are challenge podcasts, and sometimes we don't run the friendship club. We just try to talk straight talk. And when I suggest to people that being a mama or a daddy or a brother or a sister or a friend or a partner or an employee, whatever doesn't define who you are, John. It's your values, your choices, and your non negotiables. And when you can clarify and get a clear view of what your values, your choices, and your non negotiables are, you'll be a much better friend, a much better mama or a daddy or a partner or a brother or a sister or a human being. So that's a process of evolution. Everybody starts out somewhere. Nobody starts out a completed whole picture.
Hmm.
So tell us a little bit about your evolution. Tell us a little bit about your life and being the person that is sitting in front of us today, sharing with us, and I hope you continue to evolve.
Yeah. I want to try to think of where it all started, but it was a lot when I was younger. The uh, maybe 10 to like 15, where you got all that angst and you want to blame everybody for all your problems and why aren't my parents together but yours are, and why do you get this, why did your parents buy you a car and I have to work for mine, and it just became so judgmental about every single thing in my life. um it was just constant, and then everything that bad that happened to me, I just felt like, you know I'd blame everybody else. Every inconvenience, it was through wrestling. If good things weren't happening to me, I'd blame it on, it's the promoter's fault. It's this person's fault. Why didn't get they didn't give me a chance and they should have. But in hindsight, looking back, it all starts with your outward perception and how you feel about yourself. Like what you said, if you're feeling good about yourself, if you have positivity coming in, then that goes out to people and they're going to realize that without even knowing it. I get all these fans and stuff like, you've influenced me, you've made me feel this way, and you've stopped me from doing this or having these thoughts without even knowing it, like without me even reaching out to them. It's just through posting or talking about your feelings or what you've overcome. So it's taken me years, and I think that's what people fail to realize, because if they join on now, it looks like I've got it all figured out and it was like that. But it's been over the course of probably 9 hard years of self development, reading, constant positivity in my ears, self doubt, talking about being positive anyway.
So what
So,
you're talking about is changing the script, changing the dialogue in your head.
mm,
So what we often talk about here is what you're talking about earlier, John, is that we compare ourselves to other people's situations. And either we lord it over saying I'm better than them, or we're jealous and have some resentment. Well, why can't I have like this? It's like if a good friend hits the lottery, what's your first thought? Your first thought is to them, you say, you outwardly, you say, oh, thank you. But what is going on inside your
yeah, why not me?
head?
Yeah.
Indeed. So, what we do, and particularly when we uh, deal with young ladies, we talk about self concept, which is facts and information you know about yourself. We talk about self esteem, which is how you interpret those facts and information, identity formation, okay, and the ability to make conscious choices. Flowers don't compare themselves to other flowers, they bloom. And it's everybody's responsibility out there to provide themselves the water, sunlight, and soil. The water taking care of your physical body, which certainly looks like you have. The sunlight, which I refer to the 12-step world, which would be the sunlight of the spirit, some type of connection with something, okay? And then there's the environment, the people, places, things, circumstances that you surround yourself with that helps you grow. So let's talk a little bit about you. Let's talk about you being the gardener of John.
Hmm. Uh, as far as like the situations you put yourself in, I just made a post about it. A lot of my change that I've made in the last couple years was through working in a prison and going in there every day and being absolutely miserable, and it took like doing that for months and months and months, and I'm like, this is the worst I've ever felt in my entire life. And that's actually what ignited the change. I was like, I need to do something. So now I can do it and go in and no problem, and but it took taking a step back and looking at your situation and what I put myself into.
It's taking a step back and looking at rather than from.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a hunch that you would get up in the morning and say, oh, I have to go to work.
Hmm.
So those are self defeating words. The have tos, need to, must, better. And if you get up in the morning and say, oh, I have to go to work, what are you setting yourself up
Yeah,
for?
you're automatically starting off the day as negative.
Hmm. Absolutely. Most people ruin their days, John, even before they get out of bed, thinking of everything that they have to do or everything that they don't have.
Hmm.
So, what we help people do is to take a different perspective and rather choose those words a little bit more carefully. Choice is a big thing. We often work on choice. Is it better to say, I choose to go to work today as I want to pay my rent?
Yeah.
I choose to pay the electric bill as I love Netflix. I choose to exercise as I want to feel better. When you, or I choose to go to Aunt Mary's on Thanksgiving because my mother wants to go and I love my mom.
Yeah, it's gonna make her feel good. Yeah.
When everything becomes a choice, it changes your mindset.
Yeah.
I choose. Most powerful words, I am and I choose. So, when did most people in their life, John, feel that they don't have choices, that they don't have a choice at all? And my guess is that I felt that way at one point. I'm sure Mike did too. And but my guess is you did also.
Yeah. Like I said, that first year in the jail, I felt like I'm stuck. This is it. I'm average. That was always a fear growing up. Like I wanted to be anything but average. That's what I tell myself that now. Anything but average,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like just being stuck into a rut and doing the same thing, cycling over and over and over again, is one of the worst things that you can do. Like you have to have some sort of ambition. I can still go to the same job over and over and over again, but in my head, I know I'm going to get to travel to all these places. I'm getting gas money to go to shows, to get my name out there, to inspire people, to make my dream happen. It just became a chain reaction. I
So
changed it.
you're validating yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. You're changing your mindset. So, quite often, one of the most common things that we do here, and actually I do with people, is I go to a lot of rehabs also and speak to folks on the inside of that. And I ask them to, I usually take students with me and I ask them to move in front of me and I pretend that I'm a horse. Okay. And I smile and I say, what do you see? And they say, I see the smiling face of a horse. And then I say, okay, move around behind me. And I bend over and they say, now what? And I say, now what do you see? And they say, I see a horse's rear end. And then I ask them the question, did the horse move? No. So most people, John, I've found anyway, you can add into this, most people try to manipulate the horse. Most people try to manipulate situations that they can't change to their own satisfaction when they can change their perspective.
Yeah.
Which end of the horse do you want to look at? And kind of that's the way that you looked at the jail situation.
Yeah, exactly. I need this job right now. I need to pay my bills, rent's coming, things like that. But I wasn't thinking about that. I was like, oh, I got to go to work. I can't stand it. I'm miserable on this. But not thinking about what you're doing. I'm providing meals for my family. I'm providing you know, uh, a way to supplement my goals and my dreams. You didn't look at it as a great opportunity because some people can't go and do that.
So
But I had the
you
chance
flipped
to.
your switch and you said, rather than what's wrong about this situation, is what's right about it.
Yeah, that tends to happen. And then, it, like I said, a lot of it's complicated because it wasn't just overnight. A lot of it's
Oh, no,
frustration.
not at all.
Yeah, a lot of it was frustration, mad at myself. Why am I stuck here? Why did I put myself in this situation? I need to change. And I think I told it with him, Mike. I get mad. I used to get mad at people. Like, why did he get that, and not me? Why don't I deserve that? This should be my spot. And then that would fuel my fire, kind of. You could turn it into a positive. So the negative thought was there, but I was doing positive things with it. It was making me go work out. It was making me eat right. It was making me think about how I'm going to evolve.
Whatever motivates you, all emotions are neither good nor bad. It's your reaction to them
Hmm.
that's the issue. So I get angry. Oh boy, he got that promotion or she got that
Hmm.
promotion. Why not me? And then you ruminate, you sit there pouting. Oh, poor me, and blah,
Hmm.
blah, blah. Or you could use it. Anger has a lot of energy, John.
Hmm.
A lot of energy. And what I'm hearing from you is you use that to motivate yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I am angry. And yes, that anger has a lot of energy. So I'm going to use that energy to
Yeah.
do something for me.
Hmm.
Good for you.
Yeah, it'd be like, now I'm going to spend an extra half hour in the gym. Now I'm going to get up earlier. Now I'm going to eat that
Hmm.
salad. Now,
Uh-huh.
there's ways of doing it. And I would tell people, it's kind of what I do now when people ask for advice. My boyfriend broke up with me, or something along those lines.
Uh-huh.
I said, okay, take a moment, take tonight and be sad, be really sad about it. Cry, feel bad for yourself, wonder what if. But the next morning, you're done. End it right there. You know what I mean? How much time are you going to spend on this? And I think that's the biggest thing. You can be mad. I can be furious, but
Absolutely.
it's just have that moment and move on. It's
People could understand that they're allowed to think and feel the way they think and feel.
mm,
But most people, we try to fix things. We're all fixers. When we have a situation, we generally try to fix it or eliminate it. Okay. And that works for external events. But when we're dealing on the inside, when we're dealing with depression or anxiety, we can't make those things just go away. Okay. So what we do is we learn how to deal with it. First of all, is acceptance. Okay, I am angry. Okay. I am depressed. And until we can accept something, we can't change it.
mhm.
Until we can accept something, we can't change it. Until you understand that the tire is flat, you can't change it. Most people, a lot of times, John, figuratively run through their life on flat tires, wondering why they're not getting
Afraid to
anywhere.
check on it. Yeah, they don't want to look at it. They don't
Hmm.
want to realize that it's flat.
Absolutely. So there you are in the jail. You're miserable for a year. Oh, that must have been a tough year, John.
It was. Yeah.
Getting up, going to work, being miserable there, carrying that over at home.
hmm
So that not only plays at work, it plays into your personal life also.
Yeah. I mean, my personal life, it's changed quite a bit in the last couple of years. I left a 9 year relationship. This is about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Uh, I was getting my mind right. I was getting in shape. I was turning my life around. But then I realized, like, I loved the person, but I wasn't in love. And that was really tough. After 9 years of being with somebody, I was like, I shouldn't be feeling this way after 9 years. Why am I still questioning it? And I went into the deep overthinking, this and that. I said, if I'm thinking this much about it, it's time to walk away and step back.
Everything in life changes. The wheel keeps turning in life. Nothing ever remains static. Everything changes. And people tend to stay in situations not because they're comfortable, John, because they're familiar.
Yeah, and you're afraid of change.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was me because like I said, I'd go through spurts and like a couple months at a time. I'm questioning things. I don't know if this is gonna work out. I'm this and that, but you never talk about it. You're afraid to bring it up. You didn't want to hurt people's feelings. You don't want to step
Hmm.
on toes. But I just kept that all inside, and then it took. I don't know what was the straw that broke the camel's back, but I eventually took that leap, and it was like the worst time of my life, but it ended up being the best thing for me. But
We often talk about emotional mind choices or reactive choices. Wise mind choices are just that. We look back and we have that pause before reaction. And most people would think, well, wise mind choices would be the obvious ones. Wise mind choices would be the no brainer choices. But wise mind choices can involve a lot of pain and it can be very hard to do. So I would suspect that ending that relationship, it wasn't easy and that there was a lot of pain involved.
yeah, and I still deeply cared about the person. It wasn't like we were arguing and didn't get along, and you know, we didn't fight, we didn't scream at each other, nothing like that. It was just I felt something was wrong. I felt like I shouldn't be feeling like this after all this time, and I'm doing you a disservice because I'm not honest with myself, and I'm just putting on a
Mm.
facade and
Being
pretending.
honest with yourself.
Yeah,
That's a huge, huge step in the right direction. So, quite often, what we ask people to do is first of all, label and identify how they think and feel. That's real important to have those descriptors in there. And this is something that we often talk about too, but we can talk about it again today. Did you ever have a pet? Did you ever have a dog, John?
hmm
Okay. Did you have a dog today?
I have two cats right now.
Okay. Well, I have three, but they're lovely. So, what was your dog's name?
Well, I've had a couple
Okay.
dogs. We'll go with Sadie.
Sadie. Okay. Did you love Sadie?
Yeah,
Okay. So, and this isn't a quiz. I'm not trying to, you know, quiz you or find out what's right or wrong. Uh, People name pets, and I get many answers to this. The reason for that is to
that
name a pet, to name her Sadie.
to identify it as your own.
Sure, sure. So if you'd have never given Miss Sadie a name and she ran outside, how would you call her back? Outside, go ooh, ooh
Yeah,
whistle. So our thoughts and feelings are like that too, John. If we're unable to step back and accurately label how we think and how we feel, you have no control over them. And that's when the hamster wheel starts. And that's when you get into rumination. And that's when they morph and mold into something that is pretty ugly and is not helpful to you at all. So if you're able to understand and recognize what is going on, you're much able to have some choices in how much of that drama you want to participate inside your head.
Yeah, it's all up to you. I mean, you pick what you're going to think about. You pick what you're going to surround yourself with. Negative thoughts will come up all the time, but it's how long you keep them there. I'd lay in the dark for 3 hours at night thinking about something that happened 3 years ago.
Yes.
Like simple stuff that you can't change it. It's in the past. Why are you worried about it?
Thoughts are just thoughts. And what we suggest to people is that you're not your thoughts. Simply because you have one doesn't make it true. Okay? So I would suspect that you get a lot of email.
Yeah, a lot of Facebook messages.
Okay, yeah. So in an email box, you have a spam folder. Do you open your spam email? What's in there? And the reason for that is?
There's no need.
There's no need, because inside some of those messages, malicious individuals put what?
Anything. Yeah.
And they put viruses in them. Everybody has an antivirus program. So what do viruses do to your computer, your phone, whatever? Break it down, make it run sideways, upside down, slow it down, run ways in that it's not meant to. Well, all of our thoughts too contain viruses. Some of them contain viruses, this negative thinking. However, we insist on opening every single one of them. And some of those thoughts contain viruses, and they make us sick, and they make us ill, and they become toxic. So the idea is to be able to, first of all, recognize those thoughts, and then have a way to let them go. Have a way to let them go. So I don't teach thought suppression. I don't teach thought blocking, because what we resist persists. You're a big, strong guy. When you were on the playground, 5 or 6 years old, what are we taught? If somebody pushes you, what's your natural inclination?
Shove back.
Push back. So when these intrusive thoughts come in, we think, well, I'm going to make it go away. And you try to push it away. And then it pushes back. And then it brings a lot of its friends. And the game is on. So the idea is to recognize these thoughts. And it's your choice as to whether to participate in that or not.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point in my life. And I was thinking about that today at work. I'm walking around thinking about the interview, stuff like that. I'm having a hard time remembering back when I was miserable. You know what I mean? It's been that long now that I'm finally getting over it, and I'm like, how bad was it? Was it really that bad? In the moment it was the worst time of my life. I remember that much, but now it's like I can't bring those feelings back up anymore.
I like that term, in this moment.
Please check out our website at fishingwithoutbait.com, where you can listen to the show, comment on our discussions, and find out where you can subscribe to our podcast. If you're interested in flying the colors of Fishing Without Bait, click the shop icon on our website. We have clothing, mugs, cell phone cases, and so much more. Show the world that you fish without bait. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.